All right, good morning, everyone. Here we are in the garage. It's Dawn. Welcome back to the channel. And today is going to be kind of a dual purpose video. The first thing we're going to be doing is going through and finding cold weather gear from here and doing a swap out of all of my warmer weather gear from the bike and, get ready for the cooler weather that is here and will be coming, as well as looking at a couple of things that I have just purchased for that cooler weather riding. So I'll show you a couple of those things as well. But the first thing I'm going to do is to get all of the stuff out of here, out of the bike that I will not be using. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about my trip to Canada and showing some of the things that worked really well, some of the things that maybe I didn't even use, and also some of the things that I bought after the trip because of things that went wrong or things that I did not have. So first things first, let me clear some stuff out of here. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have taken pretty much everything out of the bike and placed it on this table, with the exception of my manual, which is there. And then this is a piece that goes up here that I will need to replace when I have a chance to do that. So I kind of left that in there too. I don't know what that is. Looks like a receipt. Pull that out. But other than that, everything else has been taken out. You can see my stickers that I've been collecting as I've been meeting up with folks from all over the world, especially at Canada Vespa Days. But you can see that's pretty well clear. So now everything that has been in my bike for a while now is in here. So there are a few things that I'm going to kind of go over, and then I think I'll go over a few of the things that I used specifically during the trip at Canada Vespa Days that worked out really well for me from this batch, and then talk about some of the things right after that I ended up getting because I didn't have them. Okay, so one thing is right here on top, a really good drying towel. It did rain quite a bit at certain points while we were up there, so having a good drying towel to kind of dry down the bike, I feel is essential. I also do keep a number of other towels. Okay, this one actually is my gas towel that I keep under the seat, and then I do have some other towels as well. So those are always in the bike. Use those frequently. Now I'm going to show you my new tire inflator, and I want to thank Her Two Wheels for showing this on her channel, and she has a really great code that you can use. I don't know if it still works, but I just bought this one, but this isn't the one that I used at Canada Vespa Days. I'll link both of them if they still make the old one that I had. But this is invaluable. Having a tire inflator, wicked important. I also do have, which I did not use, a tire repair kit. So I have both of these in the bike, as well as a first aid kit. Thankfully did not have to use anything there, with the exception of I did put some air in tires, so that was good. rock straps. I cannot say enough about how great rock straps are. I have multiple sets in that bag that's under there, many more rock straps. I cannot recommend those enough. Rock straps are great for tying down luggage. I'm going to share a picture in a bit of the bag that I used on this trip. And I'm going to let you know that it was an amazing bag. Got it from Touratech, and it was one of the best bags that I've ever gotten. So super, super important. So rock straps, highly recommend. Great for tying things down. This is amazing. I have 2 of these. Actually, I might even have 3 of them now, but I had 2 of them on the trip. These are portable solar powered power banks. And I actually use these to help power my, at the time, did I have GoPros at the time? No, I think I had my Action 4s at the time, but whatever cameras I had at the time, I used these to help power them. And that was super helpful because we didn't stop sometimes enough or long enough for me to swap out batteries. So being able to power these and just kind of leave them out, I had them like just hanging. I had a bag that was strapped to the front of my bike, and I just kind of had these kind of hanging out there using these little carabiner hooks, and that was fantastic. And in this bag, I have tons and tons of cables, wires, basically any sort of wire I might need for any of my electronic equipments in duplicates, because you never know when something's going to fail or might get lost. Super important. My sunglasses, I have 2 pairs. I have this white lined one that has kind of the colored lens. Those I use, generally when I use them most of the time, but a lot of times it's better for like when the sun is rising or setting, because they're not quite as I'm sorry, they're better when the sun is already up. I have another pair that has darker lenses that's better for when the sun is actually rising or setting, when the sun might be in your eyes, because they have much darker lenses. So I use these most of the time, and then I have a black pair in there of the same Oakleys that I use other times. This I did not use. This is actually going to stay in my bag. I had kept it in there. This has my balaclava and a hair cover to go under my helmet, but I am going to need this to stay in the bag because cold weather is coming, so I need that balaclava in there. Now gloves. Okay. The trip home, coming home from Canada, did not go quite as planned. I ended up leaving on the bike the day after everyone else, thinking I'm going to avoid all the bad weather that those folks were going to encounter. Little did I know, as I was to get on the second ferry coming back from Canada to the United States, that I would blow a fuse and the bike would lose power. So I'd have to push the bike on the ferry, and I'll leave a picture here. After I got off of the ferry, I had to figure out how I was going to get the bike running again. So I looked through, I figured it was a fuse. Unfortunately, I didn't have any fuses. Thankfully, someone showed up from the highway department and was able to help with that. I actually ended up at a convenience store buying a pair of tweezers because my fuse holder went inside of the bike and I needed to try to pull it out, and my fuse puller wasn't long enough. And I didn't have a pair of pliers. So because of all of that, I actually do now have in my tool case, I do have plenty of fuses. I've got pliers. I've got all sorts of other things now that I can use. So won't make that mistake again. Do not know what caused it. I should really try to figure that out, as I think that's going to be essential, making sure that it doesn't happen again. But be prepared with tools, okay? But these gloves, on the way home, I decided to ditch my plan to go to Rhinebeck and spend a couple of days there. And I rode straight home from the border with Canada in New York State, Western New York State, and rode straight through to Rhode Island through pouring rain and wind. And I blew through every single pair of gloves that I had brought with me. And I had brought 3 pairs of gloves. So if you're doing a trip like this, definitely bring extra pairs of gloves. Bring waterproof gear. Thankfully, I had some waterproof gear on me. I have these locks. I did end up using these as the hotel was nice, but there had been some thefts in the parking lot previously. So I thankfully had some locks, so I was able to lock everything up. So those stay in the bike. The gloves I'm going to kind of swap out for some other things. I've been doing more basic maintenance on my bike. So keeping the tools that you would need to change an oil filter or do an oil change, those things I keep on the bike. Back here are cleaning supplies. Clean the bike, clean the helmet, the visor, all that stuff stays on the bike as well. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out what's staying and what's not staying in the bike, and I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back again. Here again are my bins where I keep the gear that I swap through for each season, so that way everything stays safe and clean, and especially away from any critters that might want to join in and destroy things. But here I put things back. I've got my towels, my rock straps, my cleaning supplies, tools, charger cables, my portable charger, first aid kit, tire inflation stuff, and club stickers for my Vespa club. So everything that should be in there is in there. And then in the underseat, I've got my glasses, towels, my little portable speaker, and I've got my balaclava, I've got my tools, and my registration, and my instruction manual. Now over here are some items that are going to be added to the underseat. So 3 seems to be the magic number as far as gloves go. So I'm going to stick with that for the cooler weather. So I have this pair of leather gloves. I have this pair of lined leather gloves. Then I have these really warm Revit gloves. And I just bought these, which are heated liners, glove liners. They have battery packs that go in them like you see here. And then they heat up. So I can put those under these gloves and make them a little warmer. And I also did get this heated liner for my, this heated vest for under my jacket. Has a little battery pack that goes in here. And again, has 2 sections. You can heat the back. You can heat the front. You can heat both. You can do one or the other. So I have that going for me as well. So I think that will be important to have. I just gotta make sure everything turns off. So I get all that stuff. Some of the stuff's gonna go in. The vest is gonna go inside, but the liners and gloves are gonna go in the back. Now, here's a little sneak peek. This will be coming soon. I do also have this extra fuel canister, which I'm not gonna add yet. I'm probably gonna do that in the spring, but I did just get that. But I wanna talk about this bag. So this is a Turatech waterproof bag. I think it might be a 30 liter. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna put a picture of this bag on the bike as it was when I was all packed up for the trip so you can see it. But I will tell you that this bag was the best thing that I had with me on my trip. It sat right behind my back, so I was able to actually lean back on it. I was able to rest my backpack on it. It was amazing. In all that rain coming home, everything in that bag stayed dry. When other things were getting soaked, that bag stayed completely bone dry, and it was, I couldn't have asked for anything better. Full disclosure, this was sent to me by Tech, but I am not being paid or being told to say anything nice about this bag. I literally love this bag, and honestly love this bag, and would have many more of them if I was on a bigger bike, which someday, who knows, that might happen. But if I am going to do anything like that, Tech will be the brand that I would go for, because I could not believe how amazing this bag was. Tied it down with the rock straps. It was great. I mean, it fits so much stuff. It's huge in there. So I would definitely get that again. And then actually I'll come around this way, because I did actually have, this is my rain suit, just a set of Frog Togs. But it worked out perfectly for what I was using for. So getting back to the Canada trip, coming home. So I did say bike died, had to get some help, had to ride home in all that rain. Thankfully, you know, the bike didn't have another issue the whole way home, but it was definitely a learning experience. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever done. I would do it again tomorrow. I'm hoping next year I might be able to do an even longer ride. Not sure if it would be on this bike or another one, but overall the trip was amazing. A couple of things that I might have changed or wish were different maybe is I wish this bike was a little bit more powerful on the hills. I mean, granted, I'm not a tiny person, so, you know, I could probably help that a little bit, but it wasn't awful. I mean, if I was able to get enough speed going towards the mountainy hills, and if I could, you know, get a good speed leading up to them, then I could lose a little bit of power on the way up, but it wasn't as bad. But if there was a lot of traffic, or if we weren't spaced far enough apart, unfortunately, it was a little bit laggy going up those hills. So that's probably the only thing. And then, you know, just being a little bit better prepared with things like fuses, which I now have in my tool case. So overall, I would say with all the stuff that I brought with me, I was pretty dang well prepared. You know, this bag packed a lot. I had another backpack on that had tons of stuff in it. I had pretty much most of the stuff that I needed. But those few things like fuses and things like that. So highly recommend, if you're doing a long trip, make sure that you have the things that you need, like fuses, tools, air filler, check your oil, do an oil change if need be, because, you know, you want to make sure that you can get there and back safely. But again, thank you to everyone who put on Canada Vespa Days. Thank you to the amazing people I traveled with for that trip. It was a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but I'm hoping to make it more than that with some other trips soon. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for following along on this journey. Thank you for joining me as I transition from the warm weather to the cool weather. And I hope to see you in the next one. And pretty soon we'll be seeing a little bit from that fella right there. So stay tuned. Bye.